Let's talk headshots, shall we? Every actor needs a headshot. If you're going to work professionally or even in community theater, it's best to get a headshot. Now, some actors that are just starting out may not need a headshot. If you're in school, that kind of thing, you might not need one yet. But as soon as you get out into the market, into the world, it's going to be pretty much required at every audition. And even if you don't use a headshot for an audition, many producing organizations want a headshot for their program, for their website, for their bulletin board out in front of the theater, and so it's nice to have those things managed ahead of time. Now, there is a butt ton of advice on headshots out there, and there's so many people that are so particular about every little nuance of every single headshot. A lot of that is very important, and I'll give you the basic rundown of that in this video. But some people are really they're a bit of they're like Nazis about headshots, and I don't think it needs to be quite like that. Now, you want to be competitive, and yes, you want to follow these rules to the best of your ability, but there's so many rules about headshots and so many different opinions, and times change as well. I mean, headshots used to be black and white only. What was that all about? And the framing of headshots changes over the years, and what's acceptable and what's in and what's out changes. So you got to kind of keep abreast of that. But no headshot is perfect, and every single one is going to have a little flaw or something that could have been better about it, or somebody's opinion is going to be different about it. So just kind of take those with a grain of salt. I like to think of a headshot as a product advertisement. If you look at a commercial on television and you see a product, the commercial might be shot artistically from all different angles with shadows on the faces and stuff like that. But when you get to the actual product, it's always face on, very clear, very legible. Your eye goes right to the product. The background of the product is not more busy than the product itself. You know exactly what you're getting, and it's crystal clear, well lit, no shadows, all that kind of stuff. So think of your headshot as a product photograph, and you are the product. And so your photograph has to be you, straight on. It has to look like you. It has to look like you at your best. It has to say to the world, this is what you're going to get with this actor. And it also has to be identifiable. You have to be able to look at that photo and say, that is that person. You know, the person that I'm seeing here in the room, the person that I'm calling in for this audition who I haven't met yet looks like this picture. It's about advertising. I am getting what I am seeing. And that's the most important thing to consider. That picture also has to sell the product to a broad range of customers. It has to be appealing. It has to be a way of focusing the viewer's attention on a specific aspect of that product. Plus, with that photo, you're also trying to show the product in the most appealing light. When do you need headshots? If you're in theater, especially if you're not in LA or New York or the West End, you're probably not going to need a new headshot more than once every couple years or so. Some people go 10 years or 30 years without ever changing their headshot because they work in the same theater over and over again and people know them. It's not that important that you have a headshot, and you might find yourself in that situation. You just need a headshot, but it doesn't need to be current. For film, commercial, television, web series, all those things, you need to be as current your look as possible. Again, you need to be able to pick your face out of a room of people based on your headshot. When you're seeking out a headshot photographer, you want to look for actor headshot photographers. They are particular types of photographers that specialize in actor headshots. You do not want to look for artistic photographers. For instance, you don't want to look for fashion model photographers because they're used to taking glamorous shots, and they have a lot of shadows and things in their lighting, and they're doing different angles, and they're focusing on things that are model based and not actor based. You also don't want to look for artistic photographers or landscape photographers who take beautiful scenic shots but have no experience shooting people. And you also totally want to avoid portrait photographers, family photographers, glamour shot photographers, because they are shooting a specific type of photo. And even though it might kind of lend itself to a headshot, there's still some nuances that they're going to miss that a headshot photographer knows. So look for headshot photographers, and some of them can be super expensive. I mean, I've heard of people charging $1,000 for a session, and you get 2 looks, 2 shots basically, and that's kind of a lot of money to spend. So it's important that you save up for this and treat that like an investment, because it is your calling card, it is your business card, and it is your face out there that's being represented. So you want to give it the best. That's where you want to put your money. But you don't have to choose one of those very fancy established photographers, because you will get what you pay for. But sometimes there are newer photographers that are trying to make a name for themselves. They still know how to do it, but they just have less experience, or maybe a little bit less lighting equipment, or they don't have a studio or something like that. Those photographers are going to be more able to offer you different looks, maybe a whole roll of photos that you can choose from. Maybe you can choose 5 or 6, 10 different looks and keep those photos, and maybe they will just charge you very little, or maybe even do it for free because they're trying to get a portfolio together. So those are the kinds of photographers you might want to look for if you're on a budget. But also remember, you may not get the consistent quality of a professional headshot photographer. If you can't find a headshot photographer at a reasonable rate, look for photographers that do stock photography. These are people that are they're used to shooting actors and other people in stock shoots. And stock photography is, again, commercial in nature, and it has to appeal to a broad range of audiences. So again, stock photographers are a second good candidate for a photographer, because they already set up their lighting and their studio shots to present actors in a similar way that headshot photographers do. And when you're looking at a headshot photographer, you want to make sure you check out their previous work. Make sure that you're seeing actor headshots on their website or in their portfolio, and also ask them about how they go about their shooting process. I often find that when I know the photographer and they're a friend, I have a much better shoot. My pictures look much more natural because I'm relaxed with them and we have a rapport. And they know how to get a photo out of me, how to get a pose out of me. They can tell me to suck in my gut if I need to suck in my gut, or lower my chin, or raise my chin, or look at the camera in a funny way. Ask their photographer about their process and how they get you to give your best photography face. So one of the most important things about a headshot is your eyes. Your eyes should be the most important focus of the picture. So they should be bright, clearly lit, and open. A lot of times when we're posing, we have the lights in our eyes, so we squint, and that can show up. And also shadows can be cast from where the light is on your eyes, so you want to avoid that. You want to be able to see your eyes clearly. So if you're staring into a bright light while you're at the photo shoot, you want to get used to that light. Open your eyes up wide, like this, with your eyebrows, and then soften your eyebrows to keep your eyes open. So if you're squinting, open your eyes bright, and then soften your eyebrows, and that way your eyes stay opened and focused but not squinty. If you go out drinking the night before and you have a hangover, you're going to have bags under your eyes or dark circles. You want to avoid that, so get plenty of rest before your headshot shoot so your eyes are nice and rested. Also, in a photograph, when you're choosing your photographs, you want to make sure that you can see the color of your eyes, especially if you have dark eyes like mine. You want to be able to see that brown or that gray or that green or that blue. And you want to choose an outfit, a shirt, top, whatever, that kind of matches the color of your eyes so that it gives that sort of consistency throughout the photo. You want to look for pins of light, dots of light, circles of light inside the eye, reflecting off the eye. 2 or 3 lights is ideal, and it's those little pinpoints of light that really make the eyes pop. The next most important thing in a headshot is your mouth. If you're doing a theatrical headshot, most theatrical headshots are just a smile with no teeth, or just a plain expression, a positive expression. So like this. A gentle smile, a grin, something like that. If you're doing a headshot for commercials, you want a nice commercial smile. Again, it's about the product, and your face is going to help them sell a product. So 9 times out of 10, they're going to want somebody who has a nice smile. And if you're doing film and television, you want something in between. Again, you want to kind of gear that smile or your mouth expression toward the type of character you are. And a smile with maybe a little teeth or not so much teeth is appropriate. You want a headshot nowadays to be framed about chest, nipple, to about 1 inch above the head. Kind of the framing that I have in this video right now. This is a good headshot, but see, my head is still small on the screen, so you might want to crop in a little bit more, but you want to shoot it at about this level. Even though the focus is the head, They really want the head and shoulders because that gives a little bit more of an idea of your body type and what they're getting, you know, from the neck down. You want to make sure that your headshots are straight on. So basically the camera is level with you, level with your eyes, and it's not above like a selfie or down below like some domineering picture. And you don't want to have a twist of the head, turn of the head. You also don't want to be turned like this too much because it just doesn't look good on camera. You want a straight, direct shot. Lighting is important. You want to fill in those shadows. So if I shut my shot here, this is a nice little artistic looking shot here for a shoot, but this shadow on my face, you can't see my eyes. Now it looks artistic, but again, that's not what headshots are about. That's the job of a DP or a color corrector on a set. So you want your light to come from multiple sources, to be big enough that it doesn't cast harsh shadows on your face. Look for the sockets of your eyes, the sides of your face, down here, all those kind of things. You want to be well lit. You want your hair out of your face. If you've got long hair, you might want to consider pulling it back. It doesn't always fit the type that you're going for to have your hair pulled back, but make sure it's out of your face. Make sure that we can see back to about your ears, and make sure we can see some of your forehead, at least your eye area should be seen. And then the same thing with clothes. You want simple, plain clothes, solid colors that pop with your eyes. You also don't want your clothes to be the same color as the background. If you walk onto set and they have a blue background, don't wear a blue shirt. Bring some choices to the photo shoot as well for wardrobe. If you're wearing jewelry in the shot, I recommend you don't, but you know, a simple necklace, a simple ring, something like that is probably fine. But jewelry can often cause weird reflections in the camera, or can just date your picture a little bit. So or it can also change the type that people think of you as. So kind of minimize the jewelry as much as possible. You don't want to put your hands in the shot because hands are distracting, and it's not about your hands, it's about your head. If they want to see your hands, they'll do a hand shot. But if it's likely that your hands are going to be in the shot, anytime you do a photo shoot, you should go get a manicure the day before, and that way your nails are nice and clean and they don't need to be touched up by a photographer afterwards. The background in a shot should not be busy. So a lot of photographers will take you to a park and they'll have trees in the background and it'll be harsh lighting, so you'll see a lot of contrasty leaves in the background. And even if they have a low depth of field so that that's blurred out, it's kind of busy back there and it causes distraction. You want the focus to be on your face, again, on the product, not on the background of the product. We're not selling that stuff back there, right? So a plain background is usually best. So studio shots are my preference for shooting, but also just a plain wall outside will do. Or if you're in a busy park or something like that, maybe shoot against a solid sky or a building that's in the back, that, you know, just something that's plain and ordinary and doesn't have a lot of lines or patterns in it. Now, it's popular for a photographer to use a shallow depth of field, and that's where you get the blurry background but your face is in focus, and that's perfectly fine, especially if you're shooting outdoors. But you want to make sure that the depth of focus is not so shallow that only your eyes are in focus and your nose is out of focus or your chin is out of focus. You want to make sure that your face from your ears to your nose is completely in focus, and particularly your eyes. So a lot of photographers, again, they try to be fancy and make the photograph look good and artistic by giving it a strong depth of field, but make sure that they don't go too strong with that. A headshot should signify your type of character. You're again branding yourself as a specific type. So I tend to play these characters that are, you know, handsome young men or older men that they look like the good guy on the outside, but they're really harboring a deep, dark secret, or they're really a terrible person, or they're mean or something like that. So a good guy with an edge. And so my headshots kind of give that little bit of a mystery about me. They always look good and they can be kind of versatile, but there's a little bit of that bad boy quality in my headshots. And then conversely, I play a lot of dads and lawyers and doctors and things like that. So you want to have another type of headshot, a second piece perhaps, that you're dressed a little more professionally. Maybe there's a little bit more of a smile on your face and you're playing that type of character a little bit closer. Now, in the olden days, you used to have one headshot, basically that's all you could afford, and you printed that out and that was used for everything. Nowadays, with digital auditions and whatnot, more and more casting directors are just using digital headshots. You don't need to actually print the headshot out, and agencies are doing the same thing. So that gives you much more flexibility, and I recommend that anytime you do a headshot shoot, you should get at least 2 looks, and if you can get 4 or more, great. It might cost you more, or like we talked about, a newer photographer might offer you more takes, and that's great. Go ahead and go for that, because the more photos you have, the more different options you have when you're submitting for a role. If you wear your hair normally a different way, like you might part it on the side one day and part it in the middle another day, try a shot with each of those options. Or if you wear glasses, have a shot with glasses, have one without. You can have a commercial shot with a smile and one without a smile. You can also just change the type of character that you're portraying yourself as. Make yourself more like a soccer mom in one shot, and make yourself look more like a seductress in another shot with a little bit more makeup and eyeliner on, perhaps. I like to grow my beard out, and I like to dye my beard, and I like to be clean shaven sometimes. So when I'm doing a headshot shoot, I will usually have my beard grown out to a middle of the ground level with a bit of scruff on my face. That way I can use it for any time when I have a beard or any time when I'm clean shaven, and it kind of fits that middle ground. But another option is to do a shoot with a beard and then shave your beard off during the shoot, if your photographer allows you that much time, and then do a clean shaven shoot right after that. And that way you have a look both ways. Changing your look during your shoot is a good way of extending the life of your headshots. Having options in your headshots to submit gives you more life out of each session. So you can spend that money once and then use those headshots for a variety of occasions for the next couple years. It's important that your photographer's photos look good out of the camera. So the raw photo should be pretty good right out of the bag. You shouldn't have to doctor up the background. You shouldn't have to sharpen a part of the image or blur a part of the image or cut a part of the image out. You should not have to alter anything on your face. The only things that are acceptable to alter after the fact are like maybe an acne, a zit that pops up, or something that you normally don't have on your face that just happened to be there that day, a cut or something like that. That's all acceptable to alter out. But the bags under your eyes, the wrinkles in your forehead, the crow's feet on your eyes, the color of your teeth, all those things need to be as close to how they actually look in person. Otherwise, you're misrepresenting the product that you're selling, and somebody's going to call you on that when you get into the room. So make sure the photo is good out of the can, and then the only tweaks that the photographer needs to make are lighting and balance, contrast adjustments, just giving it a little bit of a bump in saturation and contrast to make it pop a little bit more. When you get your proofs back and you're choosing your headshot, that's always the hardest part. You want to ask a bunch of opinions, but you want to ask casting directors and agents and directors and other actors, not your friends and your family, because they're going to pick the photos that look the best as a photo and not necessarily the photos that represent you. Ask your friends, which one looks like me? Which one looks like me? And they'll let you know for sure. Still, make it your choice. Take the best advice from those people, but you know which ones suit you well, so rely on your gut as well. There are a couple groups on Facebook that critique headshots for actors. I'll put some links down in the description below, so make sure you visit that. And if you have any questions about headshots that I didn't answer in this video, please leave a comment down below. I will answer every single comment, and I'll try to give and extend my advice beyond this video. Thanks for joining me today. I'm glad to see you here, and I hope to see you again soon.